What's up, guys? How's it going? We all know what's going on with Evergrande and China's real estate industry. But many believe that this Evergrande's crisis is only going to affect those real estate companies that are not in great shape. But today's news is a shocker because guess what? The #1 real estate company in China, Country Garden, has been affected in a very negative way by what Evergrande has triggered. Let's watch. And this is not me with makeup.
What's going on with Country Garden now?
Well, I mean, the warning signals definitely were raised late last week when it failed to really garner any demand for this $300 million, convertible bond. And as you rightfully said, this is one of the more financially viable, or long seen as the more financially viable developers. This has been.
No one was talking about this Country Garden because they had mountains of cash, right? Their debt rating is good. They have an outstanding reputation, but they're being affected like everybody else. They are not immune to what's going on.
The largest developer by contracted sales in China, overtaking Evergrande in 2017. So essentially the last 4 or 5 years, they've been #1. And like all the other developers that are in this liquidity crunch right now, they relied heavily on overseas credit markets to fund expansion. And what they...
Listen, okay, I've said this before. So you guys know what happened with Evergrande. They owe their workers, they owe their suppliers, they owe China banks, right? They owe a bunch of people, and they also owe overseas bondholders. And China, the China government, the CCP has told them, hey, listen, the most important priority to you guys are home buyers, China home buyers. Forget about these offshore foreign money. But I've said all along, if they do not pay back this foreign money, these foreign bondholders, they're going to be in a whole world of hurt, because no matter how much money they use in China, for their expansion, they still need overseas foreign money. And if there's any talk of them or any other industry, any other company not paying back these foreign bondholders, all the liquidity will stop. And this is exactly what's happening now. Even for the #1 real estate company in China, they are having trouble raising money, okay? And this will be exacerbated if any other companies do not pay the US bondholders, or the real estate market continues to go down and becomes toxic. They do not want to touch it.
They've done, like Evergrande, is expanded into what, 3rd and 4th tier cities. 60% of their contracted sales are from those lower tiered cities, and where the risks seem to be mounting at a faster pace than the more developed places like Shanghai and in Beijing, tier 1 city.
This industry, I mean, this crisis that's happening in China, this real estate crisis, is not just in Beijing, not just in Shanghai. Every single tier, multi-tier, the highest, most popular, most prestigious big name cities in China, all the way down to the little rinky-dink. Every single aspect of this real estate industry is being touched and being hurt right now because of this crisis.
So essentially, it's relied on this access to funding to grow exponentially.
So even though this company, okay, they don't have the same debt issue as Evergrande, this Evergrande model of borrowing to fund its growth, there was exponential borrowing and exponential growth. They just continue to borrow, but they cannot grow if they do not have the means to continue borrowing money and also servicing their old debts. Now, the downturn that is triggered by Evergrande, every single real estate company, even the strong ones, are being hurt real bad, because guess what? If Evergrande drops their prices, they have to drop their prices, they have to do a fire sale in order to raise money to pay back their debts. This becomes a trigger for every other real estate company to start dropping their prices. Dropping their prices, less profits, less growth, less workers to hire, and the trickle down just go more and more and more. And this is exactly what's happening to the #1 real estate company in China.
And you have to look at its liabilities and its upcoming liabilities. It has the largest pool of outstanding dollar bonds among China's biggest developers, excluding those defaulters, like, of course, Evergrande. $11.7 billion in outstanding liabilities. The next maturity is January 27th. It's relatively small given their $29 billion in cash mountain at the end of June, but still, $425 million is the first of a lot of liabilities that are coming due this year, to the tune of $1.1 billion of bonds due this year. So again,
that's a lot. The thing about it is, if the real estate industry in China continues to go up, that shouldn't be a problem for a company like this. But if it continues to stall, and we're talking about prices dropping 30, 40%, right now on a lot of Evergrande's projects, this could spill over to every single area within China, and that's going to decimate all these real estate companies, including the number one company, Country Garden.
It has 200,000 employees. It has more than 3,000 development projects in almost every single province in China. So any trouble at Country Garden is going to reverberate across the economy and across society. So that's
not only that, when you have a top tier, basically the number one real estate company in trouble, that's going to send more fear shockwaves throughout the industry. So those who were thinking about buying, oh, the prices have gone down, let's go buy now, they will wait, because if this crisis is affecting a company of this stature, then the wise thing for most people would be to wait and see. And when that happens, prices will drop further. Revenue will drop more. So revenue has dropped already a ton already. And if it continues, then even this company could be decimated, even could go under. Okay? Yes, this company on the books, it looks fine. But I've been telling you guys, China, their accounting, is just nothing like the US's, okay? Even though the US is not that great, but stuff really shady things happen in China. Off book stuff happens all the time. We're witnessing that, what's happening with Evergrande and Kaisa and things like that. And it's very, very possible even a company that's doing so well as Country Garden could also have a lot of stuff off books that could come back and bite them in the ass.
That's why this is a big concern.
So, Steve, what's the property sector going to look like in a few years?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is the end game of Xi Jinping? What is the end game as they take on big tech, as they take on these property developers and these multi-billion-dollar tycoons who have racked up huge amounts of debt to fund this expansion? I mean, just look at the video that we have of any developer, the wide expanse.
So right now, during this freaking pandemic, this crisis, the CCP has gone after big tech, right? They've gone after real estate, which are the two biggest industries, two biggest growth engines in China. They will pay for this, okay? It's a long time coming, okay? There's a huge bubble, but the real estate industry plus tech and time, this is going to spell disaster for the Chinese economy, which I've said before could last decades, could set them back decades.
As far as the eye can see, these properties, are seen all across China. This is not just contained to Guangdong. A lot of these developers are based in Guangdong. Country Garden is Foshan based, and others are based just across the border here. But it's all across China. And we've been putting this question to just about every economist that comes through our doors or across our screens, and they all have a similar, scenario. And let me just run through them very quickly. Hao Hong at BOCOM, he says, this transition will be long and painful.
Look at this. Damn, $173 billion in back wages, okay? That's freaking crazy. They've been working for months and months and months without pay. Guess what? They're not going to get paid, right? When they don't get paid, they're not going to work. So even if they have the ability to make more projects and complete more projects, they're not going to be doing it because they're workers that are not getting paid, okay? Man, look at all that debt. $6 billion onshore, again, $9 billion offshores, countless bills to suppliers, and hidden debt. Exactly what I was talking about. See this, guys? Countless bills to suppliers and hidden debt. This part here is not calculated yet. Whatever you're seeing here with these worker wages, the bill to the suppliers must be massive, in the tens of billions of dollars, and hidden debt, it could be just as bad as this. So more and more is going to come out, but it's all bad news, okay? It's all bad news.
Transition perhaps of knocking these private developers and these over-indebted developers down to size and letting the state-owned enterprise, those with implicit guarantees, if you will, by the state banks and the like, they will be taking a bigger outsized role in the property sector. Ting Lu at Nomura, a slowdown is inevitable. The best we could expect is a relatively soft landing over the coming quarters. Iris Pang, I'll just wrap up here, ING. The outsized influence on the economy, as represented by the property sector, should fade out in 10 years and will be replaced by high-tech and green investments. Well, we'll have to see the scenario for high-tech as well, as that's under siege as well.
Guys, this is serious, okay? This basically shows there's no company that's untouched by Evergrande in this real estate crisis. Now, I've told you again and again that this real estate crisis will trigger a huge meltdown in the Chinese economy, and that also will trigger a tsunami of economic chaos that's going to hit us in the US. If we're still not in a recession, this will cause a recession, if not depression, in the US. So if you guys want more of this, please put it in the comments and do me one favor, hit that like button. Thank you guys, God bless, talk to you soon, take care.